fiscally responsible and cut funding. You can't claim ignorance of what you were doing. Otherwise, you're just looking callous now because you know how important those libraries are. Thank you.
Hi, Amber Garman. There's no doubt that the libraries are important in Kossuth County. That has been proven. It was proven before their funding was cut, and then their funding was cut. Now look at all of the support that we have. My thoughts are going to be more towards the financial end. The ending fund balance for June 30th, 2024 was $3.3 million in the Rural Basic Fund. Historically, that's a lot higher than it's been in previous years when the libraries were fully funded. I didn't bring a spreadsheet or anything. You guys can, look that up. It's at your fingertips. Historically, it's, I think, even $2 million higher than it was a few years ago. And at that time, the libraries were fully funded. So I understand being fiscally responsible. But I think that fund is healthy enough to give the libraries back their money. And I'm not going to say I think. I know it is healthy enough to give them their money back. It is $2 million higher than it was previously. You do the math. It's fine. That's all I have to say. I would really appreciate you giving them their money back. They do great things. There's great people here in this room. Support them. Thank you.
Good morning, County Board of Supervisors, and Tammy, and friends of county libraries. I'm Deanne Bierstead, and I'm here just to tell you about the good things you've done. And I know you've heard a lot of bad things, but now you need to hear something good, because you have made Fenton the hub of the city. Maybe you don't realize this, but I'm going to tell you some of the things that we have in our library. And I want you truly to listen, because we had Christy Vilsack come, and our carpet was brand new. Now she accidentally spilled some coffee on the floor. That spot was never removed because that's where Christy Vilsack came. Now we have authors, and we have those that have come for book signing. We've had local speakers. We have many artists in our area, but we don't think about them until we invite them to our libraries and have them show their talents to us. Then, of course, we have travelers in our community, and they come in and they tell us all about their traveling experiences throughout the world, which is really great. We have historians come in, those that are local and those that are from away. Now, we recently put in something which some of you may not feel is important, but it's a coffee bar. So we call it Coffee and Chat. And here, may I say, almost every day, at least 20 or more people from our community come and they sit down and have coffee. Now you may think, oh, there's no good in that. But think about an elderly person. It's physically good. It's socially good. It's emotionally good. And naturally, it's very good for their mental support. We have children's programs, and this goes down to the tiniest child who comes to our library. And here they learn to first listen to a story. After they listen to a story, they talk about it. And then we have either a flannel board or whiteboard or something that they can handle and manipulate, and they can tell the story again to us. So when they go home, they know all about a new book and a new character. Then we have STEM, and STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And these are for the homeschooled children in our area. Now, we have 15 to 20, if you can believe this, homeschooled children that come. And they come from Benton, Lone Rock, Algona, Britt, and even as far as Garner to our library, to this STEM program. These children make projects that you cannot believe. One day I went into the library, they just had a story about hibernation. If you men could see a cave or something that was made out of either egg cartons, saran wrap, plastic, aluminum foil, and cotton balls, they made caves for animals that you cannot believe. You men would be fascinated if you could take a piece of tin foil and some cotton balls and make a cave, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's what happens in our library. Then we talk about gravity, we talk about levees, and I know one day I was in the library and they just got done talking about a levee, and they were shooting jelly beans to see how far they could shoot them. Yeah, just think how much fun that would have been when you were a kid. So it's more than reading. They learn how to make towers out of spaghetti and marshmallows. Towers that don't fall down. Now, can you imagine taking a piece of spaghetti and marshmallows and making a tower? Making it work, making it stand. What are they learning about? Think about it. It's more than just a book. They made bridges out of toothpicks. It was really cute, neat. One day every year, our entire Fenton school, those that go to school in our elementary in Fenton, come one class at a time for 1 hour. And in that 1 hour, they vote for their favorite book by playing a game and how many points they get making a basket in these little basket hoops that we have in our bathroom door. And then they play trivia, they have a scavenger hunt, and then they have art projects where they can do whatever they wish to. I helped with these for several years, and this last year, there was a 5th grade boy that turned to me as he walked out, and he said, "I just wish I could stay here all day long." Then, of course, we joined in our summer reading program. And of course, you've all read about that. If you've looked at our Algona paper, you've seen all the wonderful pictures that are there. They had 120 kids plus that Friday from different towns throughout our county. They learned about all kinds of things. They went on a nature walk to look at insects. Have you ever gone out and looked at an insect and really looked at it? I know I haven't always because I don't like them. And then, of course, they did this nature hunt. They talked about dinosaurs, they talked about fossils. They had a therapy dog that came in and showed them things, and they did many other things throughout the day. Now, we also have our summer reading program. And this year it's read, renew, and repeat. And this is just within our own library. And one day we're going to have an insectapalooza. Yeah, that's all about live animals. And then we're going to have a STEAM program, which is going to be something spectacular. And then, of course, we're going to have our critter conservationists come in and tell us about critters and things. Now, we also have a book club. And this has just started within the last couple of years. And this is for some of us older people that really know what it is to hold a book in our hands. I'm a teacher, and I believe in technology, but there's one way to read, and that's a book, and to turn its pages. Now, we have men and women come. They come from Fenton, Lone Rock, Algona, and surrounding areas. We read one book every month. Not the same thing. It may not all be a killer story. It may be a mystery. It may be about a minister. It may be about a teacher. It may be about anything. It's all different genres of books, which is really exciting. And then, of course, we have a Bongo evening, and that's where people just come in, and they sit down, and they play a game, they're entertained, and then they can go home. And you may not think we're continuing education, but in the library, we have had some boys who've been very naughty, and of course, they get kicked out of school. And I personally have worked with students and helped them graduate in our library. I think that's wonderful that we can do that, and we have that service. We have computer services for adults. We have all these different things where our librarian, who just spoke to you, told about the programs. We have computers where people come in for personal help. We have a safe haven for some children. You may not realize it, but in Fenton, we have children that don't have homes as a regular child should. These children come to our library, especially after school. They stay there until it's time to go home. But some of them don't go home. Our librarian takes them home with her. And then, when their parents are home, she's the one that takes them home. I cannot say what all you've done to help us grow to be what we are today, because it's with your help and your money that you've helped us grow and you've helped us become what we are today. Because we're not a huge town, we're just a little town. But Lone Rock is our partner. Maybe you didn't know that, but they are. And we're here to say thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak for public?
I'm Sandy Long, the director of the Whittemore Public Library, and I just want you to know that the Kossuth County, I've been in the library for 38 years. Kossuth County has been a model for the state of Iowa, the other counties, the other libraries. It has been incredible when we've talked with the libraries across the state. They cannot believe how well that we have always been supported. And, you know, I'm hoping that that can continue. And also, as a side note, I've been trying to retire. Can't find anybody to take the job because of the uncertainty of the budget. So please, think about it.
Kyle, may I make one quick
Sure.
I just want to make it clear, it is not one nation under God, it is one nation under God. There is no comma. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for public discussion? Colette, or do you want to come back next week? Or do you...
Go ahead, Sue.
So I'm Sue Goetzer, I'm a businesswoman from Wesley. I have been up here for a long time since Jack and I went head to head about some confinements going close to Wesley here about 15 years ago maybe. I just want to say that I was really surprised. I've dealt with a lot of budgets in Kossuth County. I was on the Wesley City Council for about 20-some years. I was really surprised when I saw a big cut like that to a budget. I've never seen that before in all my 40 years of working. I worked for large businesses, small businesses, my own business, started up with the Kossuth County EMS and 911 budget. Never ever saw that before. So to me, in my mind, there's something underlying behind that big cut that we don't know about. Be that as it may, I really hope you guys reinstate what's going on with the libraries. They're so important to the communities. And actually, you should pad that a little bit because what you put these people through, okay? Those libraries are so important to the communities. And I was talking to a librarian, actually a library board member in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and she said, I can't believe that they would cut those small libraries. She said, you guys fight. She was a member of the third largest library in the United States, in Chicago. Okay? How many of you have visited the libraries since this has been going on? Carter, I know you have. How many of them were open when you went there?
2 out of 3.
Yep, you know why, right? They had to start scaling back because they don't know what you guys are up to.
3 out of 4, I should say.
Yeah. So let's get going here, guys, okay? It's not just for you, it's for the communities. Okay, thank you.
My name is Dakota Paulson, and I am a regular at the Fenton Public Library, and I have also spent quite a bit of time at other libraries in the county. And the way the Fenton Public Library has changed my life, I recently moved into Fenton a little over a year and a half ago, and the first place I went when I moved into town was the Fenton Public Library, and that's when I first met the librarian, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I try to make it my goal every day to try and get up to the library, even if it's not open, because that's my place of comfort, because I live in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself, and sitting at home alone is not something that's well for me, so I go up to the library because I feel comfort there. I get books up there all the time. The possibilities that the library has opened for my collective thoughts and research as far as interests of my own. I've read on topics from everything from Jimi Hendrix to Walt Disney, and the amazing things that my library has done for me is just absolutely fantastic. I go up there just about every morning I possibly can for coffee and chat. There's a lot of older folks up there. I love having conversations with them and hearing them tell me stories about different places they've been, different things they've done. I love going up there and volunteering and helping our librarian shelving books and going through and weeding out old materials and making recommendations on new materials to bring in so that way their collection is up to date, and it's just a lot of fun. And to see my library go would be an absolute travesty, and I would be very heartbroken. So to save my libraries would be out of the utmost respect for not only me, but future generations who absolutely love using my libraries for collective interests of their own and research of their own, and just to have a place to go when they feel like they don't have anywhere else to go. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else for public discussion? Alright, hearing no more public discussion, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda and minutes. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimous. We are going to, postpone our 2 monthly reports, so the next item is to reaffirm the 2024 and 2025 medical examiners. The list of that is in our packet here. Is there any questions?
Move to approve.
Okay, is there a second? Jack, seconded. Alright, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Alright. Motion carried unanimous. Next is the transfers made by our auditor, that's in our packet. Any questions or comments on them? Alright, let the record reflect we acknowledge those transfers. The next item we have here is discussion decision reconsider allocation of Western Iowa tourism. Not sure who put this on the agenda, anyone?
Kyle.
Oh, Vicky, yep.
Excuse me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Vicki Mallory with the Algona Chamber, and very insignificant compared to the presentations that you just heard, but it does have an impact on our overall county. The Western Iowa Tourism Region has a lot of promotional items and things that they make available to the Algona Chamber and other entities within Kossuth County, and I would encourage you to reconsider your decision to pay the $500 membership fee to that organization so that we can access those opportunities, because they're only available to counties who have a membership. So my request is that you reinstate that Western Iowa Tourism Region membership, please. Any questions?
Trying to recall during budget discussions, well, Tammy would maybe recall this better. Is there something to do with Western Iowa Tourism didn't fill out something from last year to
Well,
this
there was
year?
some changes from the state level, but they have since corrected all of that, and I've been communicating with the director of Western Iowa Tourism. And again, there's a lot of opportunities that we have through the chamber, but we would have to pay the $500 in addition to our chamber membership to be able to get that. So $500 to access help in promoting Kossuth County, because we don't just promote through the chamber, we promote the county, and there's advertising opportunities and visitors guides and different resources like that that are available to us if the county has the membership.
Has it been difficult to advertise without it the last year?
Only if they don't fill the spaces with members, then we can have an opportunity.
Okay.
I think you're right, there was no request for funds.
I think there's something about, I couldn't quite remember.
Well, I have a copy of it from last year. I didn't bring that one, but I brought this year's invoice.
Yeah, you're correct, we didn't have a request for the funds as I remember.
Well, that would have been on the office, and I thought that they did, because I got a call from the director asking if I could help, and then last year you did not, and then they re-invoiced for, as of July 1. So if you would consider that, that would be appreciated.
Do you use the state, tourism stuff yet too?
Yes,
Cause they
Everything is-
expand a lot with Travel Iowa website and
Right.
stuff.
all of the events are posted. My assistant at the chamber takes care of submitting that information.
Okay.
Put it on the agenda for a week or two, if
Let's-
you want.
It's on for right now. You wanna table it? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. Want to make a decision today? It's fine with me.
Can be. It's on the agenda. It's open for anything.
I guess I already voted to approve the budget. And I know, I mean, with the exception of the libraries, this is why we're here today with all these people, but I have a hard time saying, well, having things like Veterans Affairs come and cut $500 out of their budget, it was squeezing here and there. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, it's just, I don't know.
We're gonna have to do a budget amendment to approve it, is what I'm saying.
Well, you would have received the invoice
Yeah.
in the last fiscal year.
So, yeah, we would have to do, and that applies to any change to the budget. We'll have to do a budget amendment and go through the formal process for that, but
We can't just put it back in.
yeah, it just,
I don't think you can approve it today without having it, approve it in the budget amendment process.
It should be the same for the libraries.
Right.
We can't vote to do a budget amendment today. This is a
more of a direction.
more of a
or
direction to,
discussion,
this
yeah.
is where we're gonna go.
Okay.
What?
Well, we can vote to move forward with a budget amendment as far as a direction, but it is not an agenda item to do a budget amendment.
It's not final action. There's a process you have to go through for that with publication and all those steps. So that's a specific legal process for a budget amendment is what they're touching on.
You will know the direction of the board today, but just we have to go through a process of finalizing that.
So will this also be included, or is this in it?
You can't just mail this to invoices.
It's 2 cents.
What's the thoughts from
Yeah.
the rest of the board? Do you want to include it in the budget amendment or?
I guess since we had department heads in here for what, 6 or 7 hours, and yeah, some of them cut as little as $500 out of certain line items. I have a hard time turning back around and handing it back out. I think the stuff the state is promoting and funding would be,
It's not the same thing, no, this is more localized.
At the same time, if we're talking $200,000 with the libraries, you're asking for $500.
Tell me where the money's gonna come from.
general basic.
General basic.
Gonna come out of the fund.
That.
So we would have to do, let me ask this, if it's coming out of general basic, this would be out of general?
Yeah,
So, if it's
and
coming out of general basic, then we would have to do 2 parts to a budget amendment, one for general basic, one for rural basic,
I believe it's all the same.
or is it all the same?
Well, you can put it in the same.
It's the
budget.
same amendment, yeah,
They're separate divisions of it.
separate funds. And I guess just process wise, like, for the future, you'll need to turn in a budget request for that during budget time, not just sending an invoice.
It's always been done through Western Iowa Tourism, and they've never done it any differently, so if that process changed, I will need to notify that office.
Okay, just coordinate with the auditor's office for that for
Okay.
next year, please.
Okay.
I don't know, what's the thoughts of the board? Would you like to include it in a budget amendment or not? Any thoughts?
Well, check with Tammy and see what, I'd like to ask, find out from her what, whether there was one turned in, to her office or what the story was behind it. I know we went through that at budget time, but I don't recall what all the specifics were.
Okay,
The libraries clearly came in and asked for X
Yeah.
amount of dollars. I think Roger's right, we did receive a request for the money, and that was why it was
Okay,
skipped over at that time.
that's not the impression that I got from Tammy, because she's the one that told me to come today, so.
Okay.
Well, without Tammy here, we can't really, coordinate.
I didn't know she wasn't going to be here today, but at any regard, just make a
Did we
decision
table this
and
for a
I'll deal
week?
with it.
Put it on the agenda for next week,
Sure,
because there's be plenty of time to do the budget amendment next week.
okay, if you could make a note, we will discuss this again next week.
okay,
Thank you for coming.
thank you.
Anything else on that, or everyone good doing that next week? Okay. Alright, now we are up to the board discussion here of the funding for the libraries. Does anyone,
Can you speak a little louder? We're having a hard time
Okay.
hearing you.
so now our next agenda item is to discuss the allocation of the public libraries back to 100% of what was funded in FY '24 for our agenda item. Are any thoughts from the board?
With the tech grant was increased this year, is that right? So we're talking about
Correct.
more.
All the money was put into the tech grant, yes.
So basically the way I understood it is that we would revert the tech grant back to what it was last year and put that money back into the divided and increase that back to the rate that it was for last year, basically mimicking exactly what we had last year on our, budget allocation.
All of those are options, yeah, I mean, it's. But that's, at the time of budget, you're correct, Jack, that's what we did.
Yep. Well, as was mentioned during public discussion, I've seen, well, sat down last week and went through the fund balances and about where we were at, so.
Yeah, and I guess just a thought I had here leading up to this conversation was, the Algona librarian came in and gave a little bit of an update during public discussion the one time, so if you guys would like, we could have you on the agenda for an update. You each could take a turn and kinda give a countywide update and more specifics on your own library if you'd like, just wanted to kind of extend that offer. But
To highlight your own
that's just,
library.
yeah, kinda going forward to keep the communication, more regular and stuff, so just wanted to throw that out as an option. But for our, I guess, discussion today on money, anyone else have thoughts?
I don't. I think
Alright,
we've had a couple months to think about it, so.
yep. I guess if there's no discussion, I would entertain a motion of some sort, but, it'll probably need to be more like direction based as far as what to put in an amendment. We can't formalize that today without publication, but.
I make a motion to, move forward with reverting back to the fiscal year 24 library budget as was allocated then. Would that be it?
Mimic those funding
Mimic
levels
those funds
in a budget amendment.
in the form of a budget amendment? Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
Alright. Do you need anything further for clarification there, Melissa?
No, we're just gonna go back to
Same
the way it
funding
was
levels.
funded in fiscal year 20.
Or, yeah,
And that's in both areas of the
divided
tech
payment
grant and the divided.
and per capita. Yeah,
The,
there's three
well,
parts.
the whole sheet is in our packet, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's all
Can you
broken.
state the motion louder so those of us back here can hear?
Melissa, could you reread the motion?
Okay, motion by Nathan, second by Wactor, to have the funding go back to what it was.
Okay,
Please, please.
Carter,
Okay, it was a motion to revert back to what was originally in last year's budget for the libraries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we would be receiving the same amount that we
You-
did
Yes,
the previous year.
yep, correct. And that was, I made the motion, Wactor seconded.
yep. Is there any discussion from the board?
Oh, in the past, there's always been lost money that came from the rural basic that funded it. Is that what
Yeah,
you're?
rural basic funds,
Yeah,
yes.
rural
But
basic,
the lost money was voted on about what, 15, 20 years ago to use for libraries and for rural issues? So the money's coming out of the lost revenue, I'm assuming?
it's not specific, but it's in the same pot.
Specifically.
Well, we allocated $1 million of local option sales tax to secondary roads, and I think we had a little over $1 million anticipated to come in, 1.2, if I remember right. So that doesn't quite cover it. Cause that'd be 273 total.
Keep buying at your local stores. When we talk about lost revenue, that's local option sales tax. And so that includes online purchases, done within this area too.
That comes out of the rural.
Comes out of the rural.
Rural territory, yep.
So how is that gonna affect the road department? You're gonna have to amend his budget again?
We can't hear,
That
sir,
was-
we can't
that was not-
hear.
Cause you gave all the local option money to the road department.
Oh. It's, so. I'm gonna try and find that figure.
Well, it's an estimation, how you don't know until it comes, but that's,
I think we were estimating slightly lower than last year because the economy's down slightly.
Mhm.
Melissa, do you remember what last year was? Was it 1.3?
I don't know.
I'm,
You're right.
Say,
I thought so.
I'm working to find it here. So, we have $1,172,217 budgeted for income for local option sales tax as of this sheet, so. Basically, just shy of 1.2 million, it's 1.17 million in our budget for income for local option sales tax. So is that the desire of the board to designate that in the future, or specifically designated at this time?
Years ago, that's what people voted for.
I don't know if libraries were specific in that ballot language, it was,
It was specific in there.
we looked at that ballot language the one time, didn't we? For
I
local
think we
options.
pulled it out. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it said. But we did pull it out.
I think it read that it was suggested to be used for the roads and for the libraries and any legal purpose was on the end of it. But that's been a few years ago, so my memory might be wrong, but that's what I remember.
Well, and I guess that's where my concern from the beginning was not that the libraries weren't important or anything like that, I understood that, but it was, budget related as I've described earlier, but I guess, so yeah, my question for the board is, where's this money coming from? Is it coming out of fund balance, or where are we going to take the $188,000 approximately from?
It'll come out of the fund balance.
Come on, roll, basically.
Is that,
That's the only place you can come out of unless you change your whole program out of government, basically.
well, no, this has to come out of rural by the code. This is our funding for the unincorporated areas, general basic isn't an option. But yeah, I mean,
You
it's,
don't have a choice is what I'm trying to say.
well, it's that or making changes elsewhere.
What changes?
There's only so many things that come out of rural.
2 cents.
Was that number including the 180,000 that was returned to the rural basic last week? The number that you were just sharing, Kyle?
So no, the number I read off was our budgeted figure for local option sales tax for this coming year. Yep.
We had a question over here too.
I was just wondering if you could look at us while you vote. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Briefly, Amber.
Yeah, so historically, like, I can't remember 100% sure when it was changed, so like the local option sales tax, did you budget $1 million for secondary road this year for that? Historically, was it 600,000?
Yes.
Okay, so historically it was 600,000, so there should have been left over, you know, other years to help build that fund balance, and, you know, that fund balance is there. It would be my thoughts.
Any other thoughts or comments from the board? Jack, do you have anything else?
No, call for the vote.
Alright, roll call vote please.
Plath,
Yes.
Jerks,
I'd like it more specific where the money's gonna come from, and how you're gonna replace it. Nobody's answered that question to me yet. We got employees that didn't get raises, we got employees that are donating to their health insurance, and we got a health insurance fund that is down 500,000 from what it should be for self-insurance. We have a lot of issues, we have a spending problem here. 188,000 is not gonna save or make the county, but it's kind of the principle of it. Anybody got any thoughts that disagree with me?
That was my concern in the beginning.
Okay.
I'll say,
Just
I'll
a
vote
word.
yes. We're voting right now.
Josh?
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Stecker,
I'm gonna vote yes because I do believe the importance of the libraries, but I am concerned about, the financial picture in many ways going forward.
I hope the rural people spend a lot of money and lost revenue comes in, 188,000 more than what we thought. That's,
Alright, Loopy, did you have a question?
Yeah, I understand you saying that, you know, the wages, you know, you didn't give wages out, but that's a totally different fund than what we're talking about right now.
the real basic stuff.
It's gonna come out of rural basic? I
there.
thought it came out of general.
So, like most of the courthouse wages and stuff, that'd be coming out of general. Rural basic primarily funds secondary road
Right.
department.
Right.
There is a little bit that goes to law enforcement for motor vehicles and like weed commissioner and some other things like that, and then libraries, that's the meat and potatoes of the rural
Right.
basic fund.
Right, thank you.
Yep.
So could I just clarify, with this vote right now, that means that I think we're all wondering to hear, we wanna hear it. Is the money going to be refunded and then we just need to wait until the budget amendment and the steps that need to be gone through? And is that
Yes.
what we're saying here?
So
I mean, I think we
basic-
all need to hear clearly what's being said.
So this motion is basically direction for the auditor to prepare a budget amendment. And then that would be published and come before the board, and once that is voted on, it would be final.
So there could still be a decision that we would not make this amendment? I just need to hear it honestly.
Theoretically, yes, but I don't believe that's gonna happen.
And about how long does that process usually take?
time to prepare it and publication window, which is at 20 days.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's a short
relatively short, but yeah,
month. It's a short month.
short month, but give or take,
So you're saying probably within a month, or in about a month?
within a month or
Okay.
two,
'Cause
yeah.
we need to know if we're gonna
Yeah.
need to close our doors now, or, you know, in the meantime, or what, so.
Well, this vote should give you direction on how to handle in the meantime.
Thank you all for your comments today.
Yep, thank you for coming in, and like I said before, if you guys are interested or willing in giving some updates, we can get some of that stuff scheduled and keep communication open. So, thank you all for your time. Let's take a 5-minute break here, give people a minute to clear out. I think Tammy stops out.
And stop this too.